What's going on, guys? I hope that you're all having a wonderful day today. For those of you that are new to the channel, my name is Ty, and today in this video, I'm coming at you with some breaking news. It looks like we're actually going to be getting Star Wars episodes 10 to 12, a brand new trilogy, and we just got confirmation on who's going to be writing the trilogy and producing the trilogy. No information on a director yet, but listen, let's just take a look at this article that I have up here on screen. This is coming to us from Deadline, super reliable source, of course. Star Wars Trilogy deal. Lucasfilm taps Simon Kinberg to write and produce. Now, hold on, let's move down here a little bit. As you can see, there's a picture of our boy Simon. Lucasfilm has closed a deal with Simon Kinberg to develop a trilogy of Star Wars films. Kinberg will write the trio and produce them with Lucasfilm chief Kathleen Kennedy. Kathleen Kennedy, I guess, is going to be staying on board at Lucasfilm, but whatever. I heard this will comprise episodes 10 to 12 of the Skywalker saga that began with George Lucas's 1977 first film, along with Steven Spielberg's Jaws, reshaped the blockbuster game, okay, yada yada yada. This is also very important because I just saw this. Insiders disputed my intel that Kinberg will continue that storyline, saying that this will instead begin a new saga and sit alongside Star Wars percolating projects with James Mangold, Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy, oh god, I might be killing that, and Taika Waititi and Donald Glover. As usual, Lucasfilm and Disney are not commenting. So listen, this isn't technically officially confirmed, but at the same time, when Deadline and Variety are posting it, that means that it's basically locked in. This is extremely important for the future of Star Wars because of the fact that I feel like they've just been floating around with these different projects. They had, the new Mandalorian movie coming out. They have the Rey movie coming out. Is that episode 10? I don't really know. I think that's going to be separate. But regardless, this is a good idea. I think that this is the direction that Star Wars needs to go in because, again, it feels like all these projects are so disjointed. But at the same time, I have virtually no trust in Lucasfilm right now because of the fact that it feels like every single project they put out is so hit or miss, and 90% of them it feels like miss. But this is what I also really want to talk about here. Our man Simon Kinberg, what has this guy done? Well, listen, let's go over to our other tab here, okay? I got Letterboxd open, just super easy for seeing stuff. Simon Kinberg, okay, we're starting off with his producing career. He's done a lot of X-Men stuff, okay? I look at, he's produced Deadpool, really great, awesome film, Deadpool 2. Logan, The Martian's a really good movie. X-Men, Days of Futures Past, one of the best films in, I would say, comic book history, honestly. Just comic book history, not in history. Some other films. We've also got some stinkers, The New Mutants, X-Men, Dark Phoenix. Okay, that's great. Producing is very important to filmmaking. I would 100% agree with anybody that says that. However, I think that writing is way more important in the grand scheme of things. Let's see what films he has written. Mr. and Mrs. Smith, perfectly fine film. X-Men Days of Future Past. Wow. Literally one of the greatest comic book films ever, in my opinion. Maybe even for some of you it's like top 20 ever. I think it's like one of the best X-Men films. But guys, he wrote X-Men Dark Apocalypse. Or no, not Dark Apocalypse. I'm reading into, another movie over here. I'm combining names. Sherlock Holmes. Okay, I guess. X-Men The Last Stand. The worst of the original trilogy. X-Men Dark Phoenix. Another absolute stinker. Fan Four Stick, one of the worst comic book films of all time. And then from there, just some other garbage. And then some Star Wars Rebel stuff. Lucasfilm, you guys have had problems with writing. You guys have had problems with creating a plan for the future of Star Wars. Let me just go back over to this article just as our background here. That's been your whole issue. You know what franchise really suffered with continuity errors, with having, continuous storylines just throughout different films, having a plan? The X-Men franchise. The X-Men franchise is known for having its misses, don't get me wrong, but also having virtually no continuity and no plan in between its films. Why would you bring in, when you know that your problem is continuity? Because The Force Awakens, The Last Jedi, and Rise of Skywalker, it felt like there was no plan. That was one of the biggest issues with these films. Why would you bring in a writer and a producer that is already proven that he has struggled with having continuity issues, okay? And instead of maybe, trying to take a risk on some guy that's like new blood, maybe just like a fresher writer that doesn't have too much history or too much of a filmography, or an extremely talented, proven writer slash producer, you go with a guy that is proven, for the most part, that he actually can't do the job. What are we doing here? I mean, I look at this guy Simon Kinberg, my mind is just blown. So he produced one incredible film. He wrote one incredible film. And the rest of his filmography is god-awful. And one thing I do want to mention, X-Men Days of Futures Past, 10-year-old movie. This was relatively recent, more recent than that film. This was more recent than that film. This was more recent than that film. So as of recently, he hasn't exactly been on a hot streak either. It's not like, these were, some of his earlier films. No, these are his more recent films that he's had problems with. And you're bringing in that guy to write the new Star Wars trio? What have you learned? What have you learned? The only positive that I could really think of here, they're going to have one writer penning the entire trilogy. I guess that's a positive because, again, even though I said that this guy struggles with continuity, he's clearly not the best writer in the world, at least it's going to be one clear vision. But guys, why not go out and get someone that, again, is either newer and fresher and has something else to offer and maybe take a slight risk? Even though, again, it might, give you a bad result, you're taking a risk because this might be like the next great writer in Hollywood. Or go get one of the most proven talents in Hollywood because you are Lucasfilm, you are Disney, you guys have power, you guys have all the money in the world. But you go out on what feels like a whimper and get this guy? This feels like settling. This feels like you have no plan. These movies are still super far in the future, but I'm just not excited for the future of Star Wars whatsoever. I mean, this news was really the nail in the coffin for me. And don't get me wrong, I can't judge this trilogy before I see the movies, right? I haven't seen the films. I don't know if they're going to be bad. But for the next 3 or 4 or 5 years until they come out, we don't even know the names yet, of course, I am not going to be excited. I am not going to care. Once we get a title, yeah, maybe that'll be kind of cool. Once we get a premise or a plot or a trailer, which again is probably 3 or 4 or 5 years away, let's just be realistic, then I'll maybe get excited. But let's just be realistic here. This is not thrilling news. You bring in a guy that is proven he cannot do the job as your writer for what's gonna be, arguably, one of the most popular trilogies ever. I mean, let's just be realistic here, right? Star Wars, one of the most popular names ever in all of Hollywood, all of cinema. You're bringing him in to direct this next trilogy, and it's probably going to be very popular. Yes, the sequel trilogy was god-awful, don't get me wrong. I think that there was a lot of issues there, but each of these films, they made a lot of money, they generated a lot of buzz. This next trilogy has a lot of weight on its shoulders. There is so much pressure on this trilogy. And you guys basically fumbled before you even started. That's almost hard to do. Now listen, like they already mentioned in the other article too, I don't know if this is going to be like continuing forward with, the Rey saga and all that, or if it's going to be a new saga like they mentioned, because this guy said in the article that there was like conflicting insider info that he was getting. But I don't know what we're doing here at Lucasfilm. Kathleen Kennedy needs to go. This isn't even a question. She's a phenomenal producer. She cannot run Lucasfilm to save her life. This is an embarrassing decision and an embarrassing choice. Again, only time will tell. Maybe this trilogy comes out and maybe it's good. But you're not exactly giving me the best expectations when you go out and make moves like this. This guy has done nothing except have one hit. And again, I respect the guy, right? He's made, he's a writer in Hollywood, of course. He made Days of Futures Past. Sherlock Holmes, I know some people like. I've never seen it, but sure. But it feels like Lucasfilm just continues to make mistake after mistake after mistake. Even though the MCU has been making mistakes for like 5 years now, at least they've had hits in between, but it just feels like there is literally no future for Star Wars. Half these projects get canceled. Who knows, maybe this trilogy will never even end up coming out, because Lucasfilm loves to announce stuff. They love to make plans, like the Rogue Squadron movie with Patty Jenkins, Kevin Feige's, not MCU, Star Wars movie that was supposed to come out that apparently got canceled. They love announcing stuff and then not delivering on it. And even when they do deliver on it and a project does come out, it ends up being bad. So listen, I know I was very negative in this video, but I just want to come out with, one message at the end of the day. I am happy that they're moving forward, okay? They're making an episode 10, 11, 12. They're making a new trilogy because I feel like it's time for redemption for Star Wars. But at the same time, you don't bring in someone that is not proven they can do the job. Instead, you bring in someone that proves that they cannot do the job. That doesn't really make sense to me. Again, I'm going to say it again. Only time will tell. Maybe those will end up being good, but I am not confident in Lucasfilm, Kathleen Kennedy, or this trilogy right now. I can't believe that the foundation that you're laying for this trilogy, already it feels like there's cracks in it. That's actually unbelievable. But you know what? We're still like 4 or 5 years away from this first movie even coming out, so, you know, I'm assuming again. But, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Let me know down in the comments below what you guys think this trilogy is going to be. What's the premise going to be? Are you confident in this writer-producer? Do you think there's any hope for Star Wars, quite honestly? But, guys, that's going to just about do it for this video today. Thank you so much for watching. I love you guys, and I'll see you in the next video.